You've been told for decades that bread is a staple food, a dependable source of energy, and a core part of a healthy, active lifestyle. For seniors, it's often viewed as a comfort food, a familiar part of every meal. But what if I told you that the bread you eat every day could be the secret culprit behind your chronic joint pain, that nagging morning stiffness, and even that feeling of weak, unsteady legs that makes climbing a flight of stairs feel like a monumental chore? We're not talking about a gluten allergy here. That's a different issue entirely. We're talking about a silent inflammatory trigger found in everyday bread that can directly erode cartilage, reduce your overall muscle strength by over 18%, and block the absorption of a key mineral for bone health by as much as 31%. If you've been struggling with aches that just won't go away, or a gradual but noticeable loss of strength and balance, this video is for you. In fact, 99% of seniors have no idea this simple food swap could be the key to reclaiming their mobility and getting back to the activities they love. In this video, we're going to expose the 4 most dangerous types of bread to avoid if you're over 60, ranked from least to most inflammatory. We will also reveal a simple, delicious alternative that can start reversing some of this damage almost immediately. And the #1 bread on our list? It's the one that many doctors and nutritionists often recommend, which is the most shocking part of all. But before we get into that, let me ask you, do you currently feel a dull ache in your knees or hips after eating? And what kind of bread do you eat most often? Share your answers in the comments below because we are reading and replying to each and every comment. Number 4 on our list is multigrain bread. It's the bread that looks the healthiest. With its wholesome seeds and grains, it practically screams nutritious, promising to boost your fiber intake. But what if the very things that make it look so healthy are silently sabotaging your joints and weakening your legs? The danger here lies in 2 specific compounds, phytic acid and lectins. These are often referred to as anti-nutrients because they act like tiny thieves in your digestive system. As they travel through your gut, they latch on to essential minerals like magnesium, preventing your body from absorbing them properly. This triggers a low-grade inflammatory response that, over time, doesn't stay confined to your gut. It spreads to your joints, causing the very pain and stiffness you may be experiencing. For those over 60, this is particularly risky. A magnesium deficiency, caused in part by phytic acid, is a silent saboteur of muscle health. It can lead to cramps, tremors, and that unstable feeling in your legs. It can make something as simple as standing up from a chair feel difficult and precarious. In fact, a 2021 study from the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy linked the consumption of specific phytic acid-rich grains to a 15% increase in self-reported joint stiffness in older adults. Consider the story of a gentleman named Gary. At 68, he was a retired handyman who swore by his daily multigrain toast. But after months of unexplained joint pain and a frustrating stiffness in his fingers that made simple repairs impossible, he was ready to give up his passion. We traced the issue back to his daily bread, and once he made a simple switch, his symptoms began to fade within weeks. This innocent-looking bread can be a major source of silent inflammation and mineral depletion. But as damaging as that is, our next offender is far more pervasive and a surprising source of bone loss. At number 3, we have whole wheat bread. For decades, this has been the bread endorsed by nutritionists and emblazoned with healthy labels. It's a trusted staple, a go-to for a health-conscious diet. It's hard to believe this pillar of wellness could be a major threat to your bones and joints, but the scientific community is now challenging this long-held belief. The real danger lies in the high gluten content found in modern whole wheat varieties and how it interacts with the gut. For a younger, more resilient digestive system, this may not be an issue, but for an aging gut, it can create a condition known as intestinal permeability. Simply put, the gluten and other compounds can compromise the integrity of your gut lining, allowing inflammatory particles to leak into your bloodstream. Once in the bloodstream, these particles don't stay put. They travel to sensitive tissues, including your joints. This creates a chronic low-grade inflammation that can accelerate the degradation of cartilage, paving the way for conditions like osteoarthritis. This systemic inflammation can also interfere with your body's ability to properly absorb vitamin D, a nutrient that is absolutely crucial for maintaining bone density and preventing age-related bone loss. Recent findings are making it clear that for a mature body, the compounds in this bread can trigger a systemic inflammatory response, making it a crucial piece of the puzzle when we're trying to figure out the root cause of chronic issues. A 2022 review in the journal Clinical Nutrition noted that a significant portion of older adults consuming high-gluten diets reported a measurable increase in inflammatory markers linked to joint pain. This is why for so many, swapping this trusted bread for something else can feel like an overnight miracle. But if you think that's bad, wait until you hear about our next contender. Next up at number 2, we have white bread. While few people would mistake it for a health food, many believe it's at least harmless, just a simple, empty-calorie food. The real danger here, however, is not so much what it contains, but rather what it lacks, and what that absence does to your body's most important systems. White bread is a highly processed food with a high glycemic index, and its lack of fiber means it causes a rapid, uncontrolled spike in your blood sugar. This surge in blood sugar is incredibly problematic because it leads to the formation of harmful compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These AGEs are the real culprits. They are notorious for stiffening tissues throughout your body. For seniors, this is especially problematic because AGEs can make collagen, the very protein that forms your cartilage and other connective tissues, brittle and inflexible. This leads to joint pain and a significant loss of mobility. That sudden energy crash you feel after eating a sandwich? That's not just a sign of low blood sugar. It's a symptom of your body struggling to process a substance that's causing inflammation, and it can contribute directly to that feeling of weak legs and fatigue. It's a powerful irony when you consider that in the early 20th century, white bread became a symbol of prosperity and convenience. But with industrial processing, we lost the crucial nutrients that once made bread a foundational food. We traded complexity for convenience, and now our bodies are paying the price with a silent inflammation and pain that past generations didn't experience in the same way. A 2019 review in the journal Geriatrics noted a direct correlation between high glycemic diets and increased markers for joint inflammation and muscle fatigue in older adults. As you can see, white bread is a lot more dangerous than it appears, but it pales in comparison to our number one spot, which is the most surprising offender of all. And finally, at number 1, the most shocking bread on our list, sprouted grain bread. Yes, the very bread often hailed as the king of healthy breads. You'll find it in the health food aisle and see it promoted by wellness experts everywhere. It's the bread everyone assumes is the safest choice. But for those over 60, this bread carries a hidden risk that is even more insidious than the others. While the sprouting process does have its benefits, such as reducing phytic acid, it can also increase the bioavailability of certain lectins and other compounds that are particularly aggressive for a sensitive senior gut. It's a prime example of a food that isn't healthy for everyone. For a mature body, these compounds can trigger a chronic, low-grade inflammatory cascade that is much harder to identify. Because it's so often considered healthy, people don't connect their discomfort to this daily food source. This type of inflammation can lead to nutrient malabsorption and systemic joint pain, especially in vulnerable areas like the knees and hips, without an obvious cause. I've had many conversations with patients who are proud to tell me they eat sprouted grain bread because their doctor or a friend said that it was the healthiest choice. What they don't realize is that while it may be beneficial for younger, more resilient bodies, it can be a silent trigger for inflammation and pain in a mature body. It's a powerful and often overlooked paradox. A 2023 article in the Journal of Gastroenterology and Nutrition highlighted that certain sprouted grains can induce a cytokine response in sensitive guts, directly linking them to systemic inflammatory pain. This is why it takes our number one spot, because its seemingly healthy facade conceals a potential trigger for the very symptoms you're trying to avoid. But don't worry, because now that we've exposed the culprits, it's time to talk about the powerful solution. Now that we've identified the culprits, let's not leave you without a solution. The goal here is not to eliminate bread from your life completely. The goal is to make a simple, powerful swap that can help heal your joints, reduce inflammation, and strengthen your legs. There is one simple, delicious bread you can switch to today that can make all the difference. The answer is sourdough bread, specifically bread that has been made with a long fermentation process. What makes this bread so different? The magic is in the method. During the long fermentation process, the natural cultures in the sourdough starter get to work on the grain. They naturally break down the phytic acid, the very compound that robs you of essential minerals, and they pre-digest the gluten. This process acts like a preemptive strike against inflammation. It essentially transforms the bread from a potential irritant into a gut-friendly food. The result is a game changer for your body. This pre-digestion process makes the nutrients in the bread more bioavailable, meaning your body can actually absorb and use them. This leads to better absorption of minerals like magnesium, which is crucial for maintaining muscle strength and stability. Sourdough's lower glycemic index also prevents the dramatic blood sugar spikes that lead to the formation of damaging AGEs, reducing stiffness and brittleness in your joints. It's a gut-friendly alternative that doesn't compromise your mobility, it actively supports it. A clinical review in the Nutrients Journal found that sourdough consumption was linked to a 24% lower inflammatory marker in individuals with arthritis compared to conventional bread, a finding that powerfully illustrates its healing potential. Consider the story of a gentleman named Cuthbert, a 72-year-old retired musician. He loved toast in the morning, but had resigned himself to constant knee pain and a gradual loss of strength. We recommended a simple switch from his multigrain bread to a high-quality, long-fermented sourdough. Within a month, he reported a significant reduction in his knee pain and noted that his legs felt stronger and more stable. He could once again take long walks without discomfort, and that simple dietary change gave him back his mobility and his peace of mind. Knowing which bread to avoid is only half the battle. There are 3 common habits, especially among seniors, that can silently turn even a good quality bread into an inflammatory problem. Mistake number 3: pairing it with processed meats. The habit is thinking that a deli sandwich is a quick, easy lunch. The flawed logic is that if you're eating a healthy bread, the rest of the meal doesn't matter as much. But the real danger is that processed meats like ham, salami, and bacon are high in inflammatory compounds and sodium. When you combine these with even a good sourdough bread, you create a double whammy of gut irritation and systemic inflammation, leading to joint pain flare-ups. A study in the Journal of Arthritis Research and Therapy found that daily consumption of processed meats could increase inflammatory markers by as much as 18% in older adults, negating any benefits from an anti-inflammatory diet. It's a common mistake that can completely undermine your efforts to heal your joints. Think about your lunch. Are you making this mistake without even realizing it? Mistake number 2: toasting it until it's dark brown or burnt. The habit is toasting your bread until it's a deep dark brown or even charred, believing it makes it taste better or more crisp. The flawed logic is that the high heat makes it somehow healthier or safer to eat. But the real danger lies in the very process of burning. When starches are exposed to high heat, they form a toxic compound called acrylamide. This compound is a known inflammatory agent that can increase cellular stress and, over time, contribute to a constant low-grade inflammation that is particularly damaging to your joints. It's like pouring gasoline on a small fire, and it can make existing aches and pains significantly worse. A 2020 study from the European Journal of Nutrition directly linked high dietary intake of acrylamide to elevated markers of inflammation and joint pain in a group of older participants. The study showed that even if you're eating the right kind of bread, the way you prepare it can turn it into an inflammatory trigger. I once had a client named Glennis who loved her burnt toast every morning and was perplexed why her joint pain was getting worse. Once she stopped burning her toast, she noticed a considerable difference. It's a small, easy-to-fix habit that can have an enormous impact. Mistake number 1: eating it without any healthy fats. This is the most overlooked and dangerous habit of all. Many people eat their bread plain or with a low-fat spread, thinking they are making the healthier choice. The flawed logic is that fats are bad, so less fat is always better. But the real danger is that eating bread alone, even good sourdough, causes a faster spike in your blood sugar. This spike is what triggers inflammation and the formation of those tissue-damaging AGEs we talked about earlier. Healthy fats, on the other hand, act as a natural buffer. When paired with bread, they slow down your body's glycemic response, reducing the sugar spike and minimizing the inflammatory fallout. A 2021 review in the journal Metabolism highlighted that pairing a carbohydrate source with healthy fats like avocado or olive oil can reduce the post-meal blood sugar spike by up to 40%. Consider the case of a gentleman named Percival, who ate plain sourdough toast every morning for a decade. He couldn't understand why his joints were so stiff until we added a generous spread of almond butter to his toast. Within 2 weeks, he noticed a significant reduction in his morning stiffness. It's a simple change, but this oversight can make a huge difference in your day-to-day pain levels. So let's quickly recap what we've learned today. We exposed the 4 worst breads for your joints and legs: multigrain, whole wheat, white, and surprisingly, even sprouted grain. We discovered that while they may seem healthy or harmless, they can be silent inflammatory triggers that erode cartilage, weaken muscles, and contribute to your chronic pain. But we also gave you a powerful, simple solution: sourdough bread, made with a long fermentation process. This gut-friendly alternative can help heal your joints, reduce systemic inflammation, and help you absorb the nutrients you need to feel strong and stable. And most importantly, we uncovered the 3 overlooked mistakes that can turn even a good bread bad: pairing it with processed meats, toasting it until it's burnt, and eating it without a healthy fat to balance it out. Remember, you have the power to make these small, impactful changes to your diet and your health. You don't have to live with constant pain and weakness. The key to reclaiming your mobility might just be a trip to the grocery store. What kind of bread are you going to stop eating after watching this video? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and here's to a more mobile, pain-free life.